Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, he called it peace to prosperity, but the workshop arranged by President Trump's son-in-law, setting out his personal vision for achieving peace in the Middle East, had two noticeable absentees: the Israelis and the Palestinians, who have rejected out of hand Jared Kushner's plan to put money before politics. And while the financiers and regional leaders in attendance at the luxury hotel in Bahrain did express support for the scheme, they warned that without political progress, it could not succeed. Our international editor, Lindsay Hilson, reports.
In the air-conditioned splendour of the Four Seasons Hotel in the capital of Bahrain, they were talking investment.
I know there's a lot of money in this room, so I am highly confident that Jared and I will have the first $4 billion.
Which the Trump administration hopes will be invested for the benefit of Palestinians.
What do we need? We need a strong fiscal policy. We need sound business climate. We need strong property rights. We need the rule of law.
No answer to the question, how can the Palestinians have property rights and rule of law if their land is occupied by Israel?
It's Jared Kushner.
President Trump's son-in-law launched his big idea yesterday.
My direct message to the Palestinian people is that despite what those who have let you down in the past tell you, President Trump and America have not given up on you. This workshop is for you.
But the Palestinians were not there. On the streets of Gaza, they were protesting, saying they're not going to sacrifice statehood for money. The Palestinian Authority boycotted the meeting.
We all know that the issue is a political issue, a legal issue, an issue of justice and rights, and not just an economic or a humanitarian issue, while maintaining the conditions that produced the lack of economic development and growth. Any solution must be based on international law and the respect for international law and the rights of people, the Palestinian people.
After President Trump moved the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, which the Palestinians see as their capital too, and withdrew funding for the UN agency that provides them with aid, and decreed that Israel could claim the Golan Heights as its territory, even though it's part of Syria. The Palestinians know which side he's on, as do the Israelis, who recently named a Golan Heights town in his honor. Tony Blair, who used to be a Middle East envoy, tried to persuade Jared Kushner that Israel and the Palestinians need a political solution. But in Trump world, maybe money always comes first.
Well, the conference has been rather overshadowed by rising tension and the threat of war between America and Iran. One country which would be caught in the middle of such a conflict is Iraq, which still is a base for thousands of US troops. Earlier today at the think tank Chatham House, I spoke to the president of Iraq, Barham Salih. I started by asking him how his country would be affected by an American-Iranian conflict.
Let's hope that there will be no war. The last thing this region needs is another war. And by the way, we are yet to finish the last war against terror. Yes, we have defeated ISIS territorially, but we still have the crisis in Syria. We still have a lot of extremist groups that are roaming around, and we really need to do a lot of work to make sure that this victory against ISIS is consolidated and is enduring, and we cannot be complacent.
So concentrate on that rather than...
That's what I sense. And war, I think, is the last thing the region needs, and we have witnessed too many wars over the past few decades to have yet another one. Let's hope that all parties are restrained, and let's hope that there will be negotiations to really solve this crisis.
You've had talks with America about the fate of tens of thousands, I think it's right in saying, ISIS fighters currently detained in Iraq and Syria. Have you, as reported, demanded a fee to take them?
Not really. That's
not really?
No, not that way. I tell you what it is. You have probably about more than 2,000 ISIS detainees from about 50 nationalities. And this is a huge legal, social, political, moral, and security challenge for Iraq or for Syria, because most of these people are already held in Syria with the Kurdish forces of SDF and so on. And many of these people are holders from European nationalities and others. And this is a collective responsibility. This is not for Iraq to do it alone, and cannot do it alone, and should not be expected to do alone. While we were in the forefront of the war against terror, we simply cannot deal with the scale of the problem. Now, let me tell you, it's not only the ISIS fighters from European nationalities that many are here very concerned with. We do have nearly 250,000 ISIS, families of ISIS, women and children and elderly, who are in refugee camps or in camps, and this needs to be dealt with.
So you want money from other countries to help you deal with that?
No, it's not just money. It's not just money as well as collective responsibility. The Europeans will be sending a delegation to Iraq to talk to the Iraqi government about ways and means by which we collaborate on this matter. No, actually, we'd rather give it back to you, the European powers, and for them to take care of it. And but we do have a problem. We need to find a solution. And this is, if you were to compare it to Guantanamo Bay, this is Guantanamo Bay multiplied by 1,000, the scale of it.
And currently that Guantanamo Bay is in your country.
That is what is intended to be. And should we want this to be in our country? No, we are hesitant, and we do want to look at means and conditions and assurances from the international community. They simply cannot throw the problem just on Iraq. Iraq that is recovering from the war, from decades of conflict.
But do Britain, France, for example, do they have a right to be concerned about Iraq's use of the death penalty for these people detained?
Everybody has a right to be concerned about whatever they choose to be. Obviously, the death penalty is an important issue, but this is enshrined in Iraqi law. And those who will be tried with Iraqi law, those who have committed crimes in accordance with Iraqi law, they may well be punished.
But there are serious concerns about the way those trials are conducted, sometimes just a few minutes.
That's why I think it's not that. I think let's be fair about the challenges that the Iraqi state is faced with, not just in fighting the war against ISIS, but that in terms of the post-war dynamics and post-war challenges, whether it is repatriation of refugees. Let me give you an example. We have 45,000 children were born in territories controlled by ISIS, undocumented, their legal status, education, all of these things are matters of profound importance for the Iraqi state to deal with.
But what are you going to do about them? Because at the moment they're not getting educated,
of course,
are they?
No, exactly. But I also have the problem of hundreds of thousands of refugees who are yet to go back to their homes. So I'm just trying to put to you the context of the challenges that we're dealing with.
And finally, while you're here, I believe you're meeting Boris Johnson, who could well be in number 10 in a few weeks' time. What do you hope that he might do for Iraq? What will you be saying to him?
My message to all, as a matter of fact, is that the United Kingdom is an important player, is an important partner for Iraq, and we look at deepening our relationship, bilateral relationship, and the UK with its international and regional influence can help Iraq.
Boris Johnson's been compared to a kind of British Donald Trump. Do you think he'll be good for stability in the Middle East?
Look, I have renounced my British citizenship because of my constitutional obligation as President of Iraq, so I don't interfere in the domestic affairs of the United Kingdom now.
President Salih, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.